Just going to read some articles here. Albuquerque, New Mexico. The Albuquerque Police Department's investigating a homicide. Northwest Albuquerque. Homicide, Northwest Albuquerque. Police say Thursday around 1:30 p.m. officers responded to a home on Vista del Sol near Ellison where a woman had been fatally stabbed inside the home. Isaac Cruz. Isaac Cruz wrote this article called Woman Found Stabbed to Death in Northwest Albuquerque, KRQE.com. Posted November 24th, updated on the 25th, 4 days ago. 4 days ago. Police say Thursday around 1:30 p.m. officers responded to a home on Vista del Sol near Ellison where a woman had been fatally stabbed inside the home. Officials say family members showed up to the home for Thanksgiving celebrations, discovered the woman dead, and the suspect still on the scene. They contacted police and the suspect was taken into custody. Police say the suspect was the husband of the victim. They're just saying it. Everybody's just saying a bunch of stuff. Nobody knows anything. There's no names. And I guess since the suspect has been taken into custody, there's no general threat to the neighborhood. It was interesting that Idaho stabbings, they had announced to the public that there was no danger to the general public, which why would they presume that since, 4 people got brutally stabbed. And then they said that the 2 people on the first floor had no idea about the stabbings on the second floor. They didn't hear the person come in or walk away, and it was pretty quiet. Seems like they would be the main suspects. But we don't really know much of anything. Husband killed a wife with a knife. In terms of gun control, you can't get rid of, all weapons. I guess you could try to ban knives, just a little tiny bit of steel with sharp blades. Is that the... They would have had a good marriage. They would have had some sort of mediator, arbitrator, a good family counselor, infinite patience, wisdom, other people that support. I mean, that's, talk about, that goes against the institution of marriage. I keep thinking about these institutions since everybody's questioning all the institutions. Because I was thinking that marriage, family, and unions these are good, groups of people. These are good unions. Family's a union. Marriage is a kind of union. But I feel like working class union is good for the men or the adults to be able to provide for their families. So you need working class unions because we all need to get a job in order to provide for ourselves and our families. And I mean, for the species, families is good for the nation, the community, the species. So law enforcement officials in Lea County are looking into a death. The county sheriff's office responded to the scene Friday afternoon. So more death. This is Hobbs, New Mexico. This is Hobbs, New Mexico, Lea County. According to the sheriff's office, they were called to the 200 block of E. Carter Lane in Hobbs around 4:15 p.m. Friday for an unwanted subject. Unwanted? He is not wanted at all. Woman found dead in Hobbs Sparks homicide investigation. This is written by Layla Freeman, posted November 19th, 2022. November 20th, 2022. So this is just 9 days ago. We got to hear about the mass shootings, right? And I think there's another one, right? There was one in Colorado Springs, another one in Virginia. Then there's like a quadruple murder that just happened some other place. But there's a lot of individual killings, right? There's a husband stabbed a wife to death in Albuquerque. And here in Hobbs, New Mexico, according to the sheriff's office, it's Friday afternoon. They were called to 200 block of East Carter Lane in Hobbs around 4:15 Friday for an unwanted subject. Once they arrived on the scene, deputies found a dead woman inside a vehicle. She was identified as Vanessa Najira, Vanessa Najira, 29. In a Facebook post, official says it's a homicide investigation. She is 29 years of age. Typically, you don't just die inside your vehicle. Vanessa Najira, 29 years old. So what happened there? Just found her dead? Was she stabbed? Was she shot? They make it sound like, well, and then they're going to investigate it like it's a homicide. And if you have information, call 575-263-6488 for Sergeant Grady or the Lea County Crime Stoppers. So, again, we're not told anything. We are told her name. That's more than most of the articles. No videos, no photos, and really we don't know the story. We don't even know the damn story. So, unaccountable journalism, unaccountable cops, unaccountable politicians. These are murders. This is awful. Why does it keep happening? Thou shalt not murder. Can anybody give me an amen on that? Huh? Thou shalt not murder. Go ahead, post that in the comments. Post it in your Facebook post. Open your window up and shout it out loud. Thou shalt not murder, motherfuckers! So that happened 9 days ago, right? So get rid of all the guns. Get rid of all the guns. There's still going to be a gun or two, and you have to have, pistols, rifles, and shotguns unless you change the Constitution. Everybody's going to have, that's the basic, that's the floor. Everybody has a right to bear arms in defense of themselves. So, no AKs, right? No tanks, but everybody can get a pistol, rifle, shotgun. So as long as we're going to have guns everywhere, guns on the street, we're going to need to get smart about it. The idea is, it's going to take a good guy with a gun to stop these bad guys with the gun. .200 block of East Carter Lane in Hobbs around 4:15, unwanted subject. And that's all we know. Vanessa, so RIP to Vanessa Najira. At least we got her name. We don't even know who that wife's name is. She got stabbed to death. Isn't that one of the worst ways to die? It's like, God, show some mercy. The Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office is investigating a suspicious death in the East Mountains south of Tijeras near Cedro. Information is limited, but it's being investigated as a homicide. Scott Brown, November 7th, 2022. The story's developing. Well, it's been over 3 weeks. November 7th, it's the 29th, so that means it's been 22 days. It's been over 3 weeks. Scott Brown, is this story developed into anything else? So they investigate a suspicious death. That's it. The East Mountains, south of Tijeras near Cedro. Information is limited, but hey, they're investigating. Don't worry, everybody. They got it taken care of. No, you don't. You need our help, and you need good people, and you need to start trusting people because Los Ranchos judge killed in murder-suicide. So, 2 adults are confirmed dead, murder-suicide. So he killed somebody. Diane Albert and Eric Pinkerton. A friend contacted deputies after receiving a troubling message from Pinkerton. Judge Diane Albert was shot and killed by her husband, Eric Pinkerton, according to the Bernalillo County Sheriff. So even judges aren't safe from their husbands. And how long ago did this happen? This must have been forever ago, right? November 25th, 2022. Posted 4 days ago, updated 2 days ago. Huh. So, and again, it's a woman that's a victim. It's a woman that's a victim. So stopping crime is very much a feminist issue. It says Pinkerton also shot and killed several of their animals before turning the gun on himself. Albert was a newly elected judge and served as a commissioner for the North Valley community. So, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Gun control doesn't stop any of this. I mean, unless you get rid of the Second Amendment entirely, which you need a constitutional convention. And if you want a major change, what about universal basic income? Capitalism has everybody at each other's throats, and they got to pay the bills. It's got to, goddamn, the first comes around every fucking month. Every goddamn month, you got the first. You got to pay rent. New Mexico State Police investigates fatal stabbing at New Mexico Tech, November 2nd, 2022. Huh. Another stabbing, another murder. Are we supposed to be having all these murders all over the place? This seems... I mean, we got 330 million people in America, but this just seems out of hand, crazy. And if you are a police officer, why don't you want smart people paying attention? We're the ones that found out where Gabby Petito was. The FBI was on it, but it was one of the YouTubers or one of the, savvy millennials or Generation Z. Investigating a homicide happened on the campus of New Mexico Tech, so you're not safe anywhere. Judges, schools, churches. Campus police say they received a distress call this past Saturday. Walmart, gay bars. Around 11 p.m., when police arrived, they found one person who had been stabbed. Can you get a worse death than being stabbed to death? I mean, my God, why not try to do a 3-drug cocktail next time and inject them? I mean, if you're going to do, why don't you do electrocute them? If you're going to do cruel and unusual punishment, why don't you do a hanging or something? I mean, just shoot them in the head. All this fucking, just be goddamn, show some mercy, motherfuckers. It makes me think of the Menendez brothers. In that movie, they said that, if it was just a murder or if it was just a robbery, they would have stabbed him a couple times. But if it has to do with friends, family, neighbors, if it's got to do something with something they're emotionally involved in, then the person will have 200 stab wounds. So, if you see someone that's been stabbed, dozens and dozens and dozens of times, well, according to these, last couple murders, it's the husband who's really, really pissed off at the wife. Camino Capitan shooting victim dies. Police say it's homicide. Nathan Lederman. Gunshot victim found in South Central Santa Fe late Monday night has died, adding to a grim death toll in 2022. Santa Fe police say they continue to search for the person who shot and killed Armando Torres Marquez, 32, who died Tuesday afternoon at a Santa Fe hospital. He was found late Monday night on the roadway of 2300 block of Camino Capitan, suffering from at least one gunshot wound. We have a picture of the victim here. We need videos, we need pictures, and we also need an active citizenry. People that are sick of this shit. People that did what they were supposed to do, pay their taxes, go to church, go to work, pay their bills, vote, good neighbors, are lawful, don't go around hurting people. Those are the people that need to stand up. These sick, ruthless, fucking barbaric pieces of shit, they do this shit because that's how they know how to get what they want. And there's a barbaric sort of historical tradition. So we have the picture of Armando Torres Marquez. R.I.P. to Armando Torres Marquez. What date was this? November 16th, 2022. Albuquerque is going to have over 100 homicides this year and last year. They're actually on track for getting like 100. I think it's 122 last year. They're on track for 150 in Albuquerque. How the fuck can you feel safe? Why would a person want to raise a family? Why would you have a business there? Why go to school there? Why do anything in Albuquerque? You got 100 fucking deaths all the time. Santa Fe's bigger than Albuquerque, aren't they? What is the population of Albuquerque? And what's the population of Santa Fe? So that's the Camino Capitan shooting, Santa Fe. The victim dies. The police say it's homicide. So Nathan Lederman is acting like perhaps, maybe, Armando Torres Marquez, 32, didn't get shot. He was found on the roadway of 2300 block of Camino Capitan suffering from at least one gunshot wound. Possibly he shot himself. Was there a gun around? Was it in his hand? They pronounced the death a homicide. Torres Marquez's death Wednesday. A news release did not provide any additional details. If he was on the side of the road, that could have been any random passerby. Could have been somebody who had shot him in the van, pushed him out of the van. He could have just been walking. They could have just shot him for fun. He could have been robbed. Maybe he shot himself. You'd like to think that. Then you don't have to investigate at all, do you? But if he was just Armando Torres Marquez wanted to live, if Armando Torres Marquez, had family and had work, a news release did not provide any additional details about the incident. All right. So it's the sixth homicide the agency has investigated in 2026. Santa Fe it's November 16th, 2022, only 6 homicide investigations. Santa Fe and Albuquerque is not but an hour away from each other. And I thought Santa Fe's population is way bigger, 88,000 versus, okay, no, I am wrong. So that makes more sense. Santa Fe is a lot smaller, 88,000 people versus Albuquerque, which has over 500,000 people. They got 500,000 people in Albuquerque. Denver has 700,000. So Albuquerque is basically a fucking Denver. El Paso, it's a Colorado Springs. It's a Denver. Albuquerque is, compared to Santa Fe, Albuquerque is more Denver than Santa Fe is. It's more Denver than it is Santa Fe. Santa Fe is more Pueblo. Santa Fe is actually smaller than Pueblo. Santa Fe is the capital. Why has the capital got so few people? Why is everybody in Albuquerque? Roger Rabbit always got lost in Albuquerque. He made a wrong turn right around Albuquerque. It's New Mexico's largest city. It sits in the high desert. Apparently, it was founded in 1706 as a Spanish colony. So anyways, 562,599. That's how many people's in Albuquerque. Santa Fe, 88,000. So why has there only been 6 murders? Compared to Albuquerque, it's just like, motherfucker. It's almost like, it's too much. It's too much. Whoever is in charge of homicide, I'm sure they have to have a good therapist. But they're also not doing a good job. They're also failing. You should just have a homicide czar or a homicide mayor. An anti-homicide, city councilman, something. He's found Monday night, roadway, gunshot wound. Let's see, the 7th homicide in city limits, March death of Officer Robert Duran in a wrong-way crash, Interstate 25. Investigated by the New Mexico State Police. 63-year-old Michael J. Trilling, killed in August as the only 2 victims whose cases have yet to elicit arrest. However, Ortiz said there are persons of interest in both incidents. So there's some other stuff going on there too. So, okay. Armando Torres Marquez. Let's pull him up. And RIP. I'm going to assume it was foul play. And, people aren't supposed to be killing themselves. So, that's the founding of sociology. What was that guy's name? He wrote a book called On Suicide. And the whole idea was society was failing. You're not supposed to. No, it's a book. On suicide. Sociology. Durkheim. Emil Durkheim. Yep. And the idea was Emil Durkheim, he came to the conclusion that society was to blame for the person killing themselves. Because you don't see that in the wild. You don't see, mice or dogs or cats just, jumping off a cliff, putting a noose on their neck, taking a gun to themselves. You don't see that in the wild. So it's an interesting, I don't want to say uniquely human thing. I guess lemmings or some. But what the fuck is up with that? That's a breakdown of society. You don't want people offing themselves, generally speaking. And then he also looked at people who died in car accidents. I want to say on his book on suicide. So he's born 1858 and he died in 1917. So maybe it wasn't his study, but it was something about young people aren't just like killing themselves right out, but they're like putting themselves in dangerous positions. I remember this. God, I remember her face, and maybe if I can remember, she died when she was real young. Jessica, something. But 20-something years old, just she had cigarette burns on her legs, so just driving, dropped a cigarette, crashed, died. Now, I remember that she had said something about she didn't mind driving crazily and not caring about what happened. That seems suicidal-ish. She said, "Oh, I can understand driving and not giving a damn." He refined the positivism originally set forth by Auguste Comte. So Emile Durkheim, he just wrote this book called On Suicide, and the whole idea was society is to blame. And if it was like Jesus or something, there's some crap that's like, okay, that crap can go ahead and take itself out. But you don't want like a Martin Luther King or a Malcolm X or, great people. The person who's going to cure cancer, that smart scientist just offing himself for no apparent reason whatsoever. Well, that clerk at the convenience store was real rude to him. That set him off. That was it. That was the straw that broke the camel's 1897. He published Suicide, a case study that provided an example of what a sociological monograph might look like. Durkheim was one of the pioneers of the use of quantitative methods in criminology, which he used in his study of suicide. Let's take a look at what they say about this book. 1897, French sociologist Emile Durkheim. It was the first methodological study of a social fact in the context of society. It's ostensibly a case study of suicide, a publication unique for its time that provided an example of what the sociological monograph should look like. According to Emile Durkheim, the term suicide is applied to all cases of death resulting directly or indirectly from a positive or negative act of the victim himself, which he knows will produce this result. He also believes that because of high levels of anomie, there are high levels of suicide. What? Anomie. What's this anomie? It's a social condition defined by an uprooting or breakdown of any moral values, standards, or guidance for individuals to follow. Okay, that's interesting. So, a breakdown in belief systems. Whatever. So, the two main things that I get from the suicide thing is that it's society's fault, or you could look at it as society is partially to blame. There's a percentage. Society is to partially blame. So, not only is society to blame for the murderers, but the society is to blame for the suicides too, because people that's going around shooting people, they don't have morals or standards or guidance or anything. There's been a breakdown there of whatever, the anomie. So they're suicidal too. People turn into, shooters. These mass shooters, they probably assume. I mean, that one guy in Walmart, he killed himself right after he, did what he was going to do. So in a way, that's kind of more honorable instead of like doing suicide by a cop, making other people shoot you, and then in Colorado, we'll take care of you forever, right? If you're a mass shooter, which is good in terms of the government serving as the example, but criminals don't seem to be deterred. You could scare them, and you could say, jail and all this. The system will scare good people, but the terrible people, anyways, they're already suicidal to begin with. So when they do the mass shooting, they most likely assume that they're going to get shot. So it comes from low self-esteem, depression, people not being supportive of one another, people not talking to one another, and it's happening all over the place. Santa Fe, Armando Torres Marquez, I'm trying to pull him up. And then I got this one in case, and I'll just make these individual things. So, but I just had all these articles that had, homicide that happened, but there wasn't really, much to talk about. So he was killed. Armando Torres Marquez, did he deserve to die? I'm going to assume it's foul play, and I'm going to assume it's bullshit. I'm going to assume somebody took advantage of somebody. He was on the side of the road. He was just walking to work and back. Somebody could have just been joyriding. Somebody could have tried to rob him. Maybe they knew him. It should be suspected as foul play. And if anybody knows anything, they should come forward. I would say tell a detective, but I don't know, start your own citizens vigilante brigade. Because if the cops ain't going to do shit, this is what happened in Guatemala. Basically, criminals just kept on taking over, and cops wasn't doing shit, and the citizens started to form their own vigilante brigades to stop this dumb shit. I mean, if we're not able to stop murder, all this money, we have all the commissioners. Public safety is even in the interest of the executive and the legislature. So, R.I.P. to Armando Torres Marquez. Let's see, police investigate homicide in southwest Albuquerque. Incident occurred Sunday morning, okay, October 30th, okay, so this is a whole month ago, right? This happened a whole month ago. Homicide investigation, Albuquerque, Sunday morning, southwest. Police received reports of a shooting around 12:30 a.m. on the 700 block of Old Coors Road. They found a person suffered at least one gunshot wound. They were pronounced dead on the scene. No other information. So, unaccountable journalist. They're probably thinking, well, at least I covered it somewhat. Nobody else even mentioned it. And then, I guess I got to get over this part, but just the advertisements, right? They're about to execute that black guy. But I couldn't read the story because of the paywall advertisement or whatever. So, police investigate homicide in southwest Albuquerque. FBI offers $5,000 reward in Laguna Pueblo homicide. The Federal Bureau of Investigation is offering up to $5,000 for info about the death of a man from Laguna Pueblo. 42-year-old victim Victor G. Jones was found in the driveway of a home in Laguna, New Mexico. The victim was found August 12, 2021. The FBI said he died from a stab wound to the chest. So RIP to Victor G. Jones. $5,000 for this. This happened a year ago. Have we figured out who? They said he was found in a driveway of a home. Stab wound to the death. There's a $5,000 reward for this man. This was posted November 23rd, 2022. So I guess they're trying to bring more light back to this case. So let's RIP to this gentleman too. And if you have any information, contact the FBI at 505-889-1300. 505-889-1300. Victor G. Jones. R.I.P. to Victor G. Jones. This is ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous. Apparently, a lot of people have just grown comfortably numb. Yeah, we had 120 homicides in Albuquerque last year. That's all right. I mean, it is over 500,000 people, so what is that per capita? I mean, is 6 in Santa Fe worse than... No. If they have 100,000 and they got 500, even if it was 1-to-6 ratio, that'd be 36. So if Santa Fe had the same ratio of deaths as Albuquerque, there would be... or the opposite. If Albuquerque had the same rate that Santa Fe did, then there would only be 36 deaths compared to 100 and whatever. So the rate is out of this world. The fucking rate means actually the people that are in charge of Albuquerque are not the police or the government. It's probably the gangs, probably specific gangs. There's probably one or two specific gangs that kind of run the show. And they have no morals, and they're willing to, just kind of off people here and there. Probably for, just talking shit. Not even doing crimes. You talking shit? Huh? Well, I didn't commit a crime. It's America. No, you talking shit? Huh? Here is Victor G. Jones. So, RIP to Victor G. Jones. FBI is offering a $5,000 reward for anybody who knows who stabbed and killed him. He was stabbed and killed August of last year, 2021. He was found in a driveway. And his nickname, or he's apparently known as Hugger. Good old Hugger. So we let a hugger get killed? I mean, that's like peaceful, right? Like Jesus, like non-violent, peaceful. Never would harm anybody or anything. And someone just stabbed him. Seems like an okay guy to me. Seems like he's got an okay face to me. And even if you didn't like him, did he deserve death for whatever? Talking shit? I bet you he didn't. But I bet you people who don't give a shit will rationalize it, justify it all, and sweep it under the rug. That was a man's life. He was on this planet. So, R.I.P. to all the dearly departed.